Alright, so today we're gonna do some more dialing in on the carburetor and hopefully get it to run a whole lot better to where I can start driving it and test that out. So I did off camera, I drove it, just did a quick little U-turn in my neighborhood and brought it back into the driveway. That's why it's facing a different way in the garage. And basically when I get it going, when I slip in the clutch and I start moving, if I'm not giving it gas, it wants to die, and it actually did die on me once. So something under load, it's just dying out. So I got a timing light and I got a vacuum gauge. So we're gonna check timing, we're gonna set the mixture screws, and that will at least give us a good baseline for everything, and then we'll know that's all settled. I did end up taking off this T-top when I drove it because the windows don't roll down, not yet. So the gaskets are all messed up. But I have new gaskets, all new weather stripping for this car. I actually have it, so at some point I'll be putting that on. So for now, just ignore the rubber just dangling. Also, when I was driving it, you can see here's what the gauges are at. So the coolant temperature, it got just slightly above that. I think it's at 160 right now, so it probably got about 180, and then it climbed back down to this 160 as I was pulling into the garage. So like the thermostat works and then the water pump's working to cool it down, so that's pretty neat that the cooling's all checking out. And I will be looking into getting this tachometer fixed. It seems to be working sometimes and not other times. I've read that usually it's something in the board, and I'm decently handy with electronics, so maybe I can figure that out. Or maybe it's just a bad ground or power wire, something like that. But at some point I will be looking into that, because that'd be kind of nice to have, especially for tuning the engine and getting it all set. Now I did order a shop manual for this car, so when that gets here, it's gonna really help me out and just really put me on the right track for what I'm doing. But for now, I'm just kind of up to looking online and trying to figure out as best as I can what I'm looking for, what's going on. So I was reading that to set the timing, you want to turn off the vacuum advance, basically plug up the lines, and it's a hose coming out of the distributor that most people use. So the only one I see is this one, there's this little vacuum thing, and then here's the line. So I guess that's the one I'll be working with. So first thing for setting timing, I got to get the engine up to operating temperature. So we're gonna cold start it and we'll let it idle for a bit. I'll probably just get back to you when it fires up, because it's gonna take a couple tries. And also, I got the compressor mounted up again on the bracket. I think I said this before, but my plan is to just delete it. Just because more than likely the compressor doesn't work. I mean, I'll test it, see if it works, but if it doesn't work, more than likely I'll just delete it, and then I'll just save the parts for whenever in the future, if I sell this car, original, or the next owner can have all the original parts, whatever I have left of the original parts. Alright, so I just spent quite some time figuring out which one was the number one cylinder. At least like to the distributor. So I know this is number 1 up here. Number 1 on the distributor, as it turns out, is this one right here. I got my clamp on it. It's orange here, but on the plug it's black, and that's what was throwing me off. I was comparing the two. I was like, there's no way there's an orange cap on one end and black on the other side, but apparently that's how it is. So I was thinking it was just half are orange and half are all black wires, not literally half of the wire is black, half of it's orange. Alright, well, I took the cap off and I just looked at the rudder to figure out where top dead center is in this cylinder, which one is pointing at, and then compared the spark plug wire to make sure, and yeah, so. Alright, I got my timing light hooked up. We're just gonna fire it up. Engine's warm now, and we're gonna see what the timing's at right now. Guess I should have made sure that was clean first. Now I gotta fit my hand in there in a hot engine and clean it up a little bit. Alright, well, I was capping off the vacuum line from the distributor. The hose just kind of fell apart. So we got this little guy. So the hose from the distributor vacuum connected to the white T, or white connection, and the black part connected to this dangling one with that bolt in it now, and then this one down to the connector way down there with some sort of sensor or something. Alright, let's run it. Might actually sound better now, but we'll find the timing now. Alright, here's the zoomed in shot of the timing marks on the balancer. So from the bottom up, that's after top dead center. So 8, and then the big number 4, 0. And then the top numbers are all before top dead center. That's the advanced timing. So it goes in steps of 2. So 0, 4, 8, 12, and then 16. And we are dead on 12. So let's look here. Timing. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. Timing is supposed to be 12. So I guess we're good. I mean, I didn't really have any reason to think timing wouldn't be good, but at least we know that. So on this quadjet, there's 2 mixture screws, so you just have to make sure they're even. There's one way down here under this vacuum port, and another one back here. So it's not this screw, there's one over there. But for my car, it's a 3/16 socket. Everywhere you look online, people use flathead screwdrivers, but I had to use a socket. So I just turned it till it was like snug. So I closed it up, and then I just backed it off 2 turns. We're just gonna see what happens. I got my vacuum gauge right here, hooked up into a vacuum port. So we'll see. Definitely sounds a lot different. Alright, at some point when I was adjusting the mixture screw, I definitely went a little more rich than I thought. I think I was about 4 turns out, and I thought I was like 3. But after reading up, 4 turns out should not be enough to flood the engine. Because what happened was I was out about 4 turns, and then the engine stalled, and after that wouldn't run again. And then I ended up draining my battery just from cranking it, trying to get it fired up again. So I charged the battery like an hour and a half later. Try again, it's still not running. I have both mixture screws set at 2 turns out, That's what I found was about right, at least on one of the screws I was working on. So somewhere around 2 turns out should be in the ballpark area of where I want to be. But the car's not running right now. Although, let's look at this. So I'll open up the choke. I need something to hold it. So I'll open up the choke and then we'll take a look inside of. So watch, I'm gonna spray the accelerator pump and you're supposed to see fuel. You can hear it squirt, like it's pushing air. So I think the seals in the accelerator pump are fine. I mean, I did just rebuild this, so kind of makes me think that I just ran out of gas. And the gas gauge in the car says full, so I mean, that's not right. So before I go into disassembling the carburetor, I'm gonna pick up some gas and just pour it in the car. If I put starting fluid in the car, it runs for a little bit, so I think that's all it was. And the car ended up stalling out because it used all the gas that was inside of the float, I think it is, or whatever, the bucket that the floats in. The bowl. Alright, let's put some gas in this car and then see if that was the fix. Oh no, we got a saggy light. Do they shut back down? Hey, they both closed. We just got a saggy light. No idea what that means. Alright, well, as you heard in that last clip, the engine's actually idling a lot better than it was before. Right now I have the screws set to 2 turns out. I would love to do more fine tuning and adjust it while the engine's running, but using this tiny little thing, the shallow socket, not the move really. I need to just buy the right tool. I know they have those ones with the flexible hoses, so I'm gonna order that. But for now, like, this is good enough to drive on, I feel like. I'm gonna bump up the fast idle just a little bit, and then the normal idle I'm gonna go a little bit just to be a little safe. And the next video we'll be swapping out the fluids for the trans and the rear end, and then we'll be actually driving this car properly. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.